So here we are in life, step oneing, sometimes because we want to, sometimes because we're just observing something in life causes us that. So
well said.
Then step two happens and, Source answers. And
let's not downplay that.
Yeah, that's well, knowing that is the most beautiful part about it, because that makes step three all the more possible, which I've heard Abraham speak before. One of the reasons we're here, physically focused, is to master the law of allowing.
So you figured something out really good while you were having lunch. Who did you eat with? What you are saying, it's really important. Your understanding of the laws of the universe and your understanding of how the whole cycle works, your understanding that step two is an important and viable step and it is happening, your trust, faith, belief, knowing of that, then step three is possible. So step three is being all right in the advanced version, in the vibrational version. In other words, I know so well how it all works. I know the vibration of things that even before, now here it is, even before I see the physical evidence, my knowledge that step two has happened, even before I feel the emotional evidence. In other words, I don't yet know what's going to happen. I don't yet feel good. I don't yet feel happy about it. But my knowledge that step one, step two, step three, I've done step one, they've done step two. Now, shouldn't that make step three just a slam dunk every time?
Absolutely.
We think that is an important key.
Yeah. And so the cruise in Alaska in the last 10 days is where I got it. I got that. And so I've been coming from a place of feeling good because life has caused me in that moment to desire something. And that platform that I reached is such an amazing feeling that I know that's going to take me to other platforms as well. And so the physical manifestation has become less important to me than feeling good in the moment, right then and there. And so I have really, really absorbed that and really, really been having fun with that.
But step back a little bit and hear the contradiction in what you said, because if you are appreciating the fact that there is a process that works, and if you are appreciating the contrast which is given birth, so you're appreciating the desire itself, and then you're appreciating the laws of the universe and the answers of step two, and you are appreciating your knowledge of all of that. In all of that awareness, you do feel good. In other words, there's no absence. You said, if I know that, then I don't need to feel good. In other words, that makes you feel good. That's what feeling good is. Feeling good is thinking the thought that causes no separation.
Right. Well, I was saying I don't need the physical manifestation of that to feel good.
And why don't you need the physical manifestation? Because what you're focusing upon feels good.
Because I already got it.
You're focusing upon the fact that you desire it. You're focusing upon the fact that it is a for sure thing. You're focusing on the fact that the laws work. You're focusing upon the fact that the law of attraction is after it. You're focused upon the fact that the source energy part of you is answering it. Once you have conceived it, it is done. And therefore you can relax and release all control. And in the releasing of control and awareness of its absence of doneness, it's done on every level, and now you feel good.
Yeah, and if it's a cherry on top, it's the whipped cream, the physical manifestation.
And it's brief.
And it's brief. And so...
But it doesn't matter that it's brief, because the whole process is what summoned you through life. The brevity of the manifestation and the brevity of the thrill of the manifestation. Esther says to Jerry, how about buying me that beautiful new car? It will make me happy for the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's about that long that it gives you that sort of buzz. That's why we begin every gathering saying, are you appreciating the contrast of your time and place? And one day we will say that, and we will hear collectively from you, yes, we devour, we enjoy, we bless the contrast that gives birth to the desire. And that's where you started there. When you are blessing the desire that is within you, fulfilled in terms of manifestation or not, the existence of desire unchallenged is joyful life. The existence of desire unchallenged by you vibrationally, because it's only your vibration that can challenge it. So the existence of unchallenged desire is blissful, successful life. So what's it going to take for me to stop challenging my own desire? Well, it helps to understand the laws, and it helps to focus upon it. But there is this, it's fine-tuning, isn't it?
It's very fine-tuning, and that's what I'm trying to get at is, I feel like this group is coming together in these workshops pretty tuned in and have absorbed a lot of the teachings of Abraham and are coming here with fine-tuning questions.
For sure.
Now.
It's like the same group moving from city to city.
Yeah, and so, and then you hear the conversations going on, and it seems like people are thinking that they're telling the story in a way that is creating alignment for them. But what I hear sometimes is that they're focused on the what, the when, the who.
It's why we began as
how.
we did today, because even Esther, with all that she knows and all that she's practiced, is telling a story that is so surface, it's not making the vibrational difference for her. In other words, we teased you all about putting a happy face sticker on your empty gas gauge, just so that you don't feel troubled about seeing your empty tank. But it only works for a little while. When you run out of gas, you've run out of gas. So let's back up just a little bit. So you're here in this physical body for a reason. You get that? And it's natural, it's right, it's natural that you would want to create things of a physical nature, yes? And any desire that is born out of your awareness of life is a desire that not only is a good desire, it is a desire that can and should be manifest. In other words, there is nothing that this life could inspire a desire within you about that this life cannot produce the manifestation of. So having heard that, that's the same thing as saying there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. All things are possible. Having heard that, do you believe, from what you've been hearing from us before and especially today, do you believe that the living of your life is for the being, having, and doing of experiences and things? In other words, are those manifestations that you have set as goals, are those quests and desires, is the accomplishing of them the reason you exist? So they are a directional pointer. They are a reason to flow, but they are not the end result. They are not the motivation for life. They are not the reason. What are they? Why would a goal, why would a desire be born within you if it is not your job to achieve it? Let's ponder it just a little bit. Why would life cause you to want something if we come full circle and we say the having of it isn't what the game's about? Sort of feels weird, doesn't it? So I don't have it, and then I want it, but my getting it won't make me happy. My not having it sure doesn't make me happy. And in my unhappiness at not having it, I want it, but then my getting it doesn't make me happy. Sort of what you were talking about, feeling some measure of satisfaction in the desire. So now stay with us. This is worth taking the time. So I don't have it. Others have it. I want it, I think, because I'm not happy in not having it, whether it's a thing or a relationship or money or clarity or bodily conditions. I want it. I want it. I want it, and I'm not happy in not having it. I want it. I want it. And so then I do what it takes. Maybe I blunder into it. Maybe I do it deliberately. I line up, and it manifests, and now I've got it. And now I've also got new contrast, which causes new wanting. So the accomplishing of the desire at best is a temporary buzz, because then there's more contrast that will always cause another and another and another and another. And yet, logically, I know that if contrast causes me to want, and I'm able to line up with it and stop the resistance of it and begin moving in the direction of it, that there is a fun ride somewhere in there. But when I get there, it's not the big thrill that I thought it would be. The absence of it set me up for an expectation of a thrill in having it that is unnatural. Because it is not the accomplishing of something that is the measure of success. It is the joyful journey that is the measure of success. So I don't have it and I want it. And now I've got it and whoopee. But now I don't have that and I want it. But now I've got it and whoopee. What am I missing? What am I missing? It's the premise is flawed. It's the idea that the accomplishment is the reward, when it is the opportunity to accomplish that is the reward. In there somewhere can you find sheer appreciation for the life-giving components of contrast. Don't you just love having opportunities to choose? When you're at a buffet, you like it. When you're in the clothing store, you like it. When you are at the cookie counter, you like it. When you feel free to choose, isn't the variety from which you make your choices delicious? If you can appreciate your right to choose, then the pushing against of the parts of the contrast that you don't want would be non-existent. And in the pushing away the parts of it that you don't want, if that's non-existent, then in the contrast your desire is pure. And in the pure desire there is fast movement and satisfying movement, and then the outcome becomes irrelevant. It becomes unnecessary for it to be important because you've already cleaned it up in your appreciation of the contrast.
And so going into that, I was hoping that you would give us some terminology, some vernacular, some conversation that we would have with ourselves that would lean towards that instead of leaning towards, even when you think you are leaning towards that, it seems like you catch yourself leaning towards the, where is it? When is it going to get here? Who's going to bring it? You know, I've left a lot of that behind. I really feel that I'm talking about things more so that I feel good in that moment. And so I talk about why I want what I want. And I just wanted some fine tuning.
Well, you see, when you talk about what you want and why you want it, you remove contradictory energy from it, because in the why there are no missing factors that cause you to activate any vibration of resistance. Right. You're really onto something here. You sat down and you wanted us to find a way of helping you be more allowing about the contrast itself. And we think that that is such a brilliant observation, because when you are observing contrast, some of it not wanted, but you have an attitude, this is contrast for me to pick from. Nothing is being asserted into my experience, and I'm not being forced into one part of it or another. This is contrast or variety from which I get to choose. From where I stand, what would I most select? There's total freedom in that. And in that total freedom, there's absence of bondage and absence of disempowerment and absence of resistance. And in that absence of resistance, then you just choose and flow and choose and flow and choose and flow. In other words, that would be the perfect way to move through life experience. So now, as we sort of come full circle in this teaching, some of you, not all of you, but some of you are ready to now step back into that attitude that you had the day you were born that says, I am good and I am choosing, and it is right that what I will choose will come to me easily. And if you could wipe the slate of negative expectation from your mind and believe that because you have chosen, the universe is giving it to you, because the universe is, your expectations would clear up, your vibration would clear up, And it would be as wonderful as saying, I choose that, I choose that, I choose that.